So this week's episode of Love is Like After the Rain served a very interesting purpose, and I really enjoyed this episode overall. I know this cook is going to get a lot of hate because he is a douchebag, don't get me wrong, but he served a very interesting purpose in kind of showcasing what society is more or less going to look at Akira for liking a man that is 45 years old and her only being 17. And I thought this episode was very interesting with how it functioned, because for the most part about 2/3 of it was focusing on this date that was more or less forced on our main character here to go on a date with someone who is more or less her same age. And I really liked how it functioned because, yes, he does come across as very forceful and more or less is making her uncomfortable. But what's very interesting about the two's kind of date, you can't even really call it a date, it's more or less just a forced tag-along. But it's interesting to see because it's so opposite to what happens in the later half of the episode, where she goes on essentially the same version of the date with Mr. Kondo, and ultimately she has a fun time and loves it. But you constantly see this moments where, of course, she's not happy, she's not having fun with the cook, and he's just coming across as very forceful, very ignorant, and doesn't seem to care about what she wants, but he keeps saying, why would you want to date a 45-year-old man? Of course you're going to want someone my age, I'm much better than this guy, and that's ultimately what society would think as well. Of course, if society saw how much of a dick he was being, they would think he's a dick. But if you just had a general conversation, can you believe this girl? She's 17 and she wants to go out with this 45-year-old man and not me, the young hotness. Most people are gonna think she's weird. And I really like that because throughout the entire thing, I never got the impression oh, we're just trying to make us hate this character. No, for me, it was man, this is exactly how society is going to react if they actually end up going out together. And then there's that moment where she gets the call from her boss and she's just, you don't even see her face for most of it, it's literally just panned on her feet. She's so happy and giddy. It's the most adorable thing I've seen in the show thus far. And then I just love how she's just so embarrassed but happy and just she can't believe she's going on this date, and then of course it kind of has to get ruined by this guy saying you really don't want him, it's not gonna work out, and of course she's incredibly upset by that statement. But then to see the actual date, the real date between the two, and actually the exact same scenario plays out, they go to the same horror movie, they go to the same coffee shop, but ultimately it's a completely different experience. And I love how this episode functioned because you get to see exactly how society is going to view them, but then at the same time you get to see how they view themselves. And of course Mr. Kondo is thinking to himself, I can't go out on this, I'm just going to play along with the date, and then hopefully she'll just see that I'm just an old man, she'll go away. Because it's not just that he's scared of what other people think, he's also scared of himself being hurt, which gets confirmed in this episode, which was kind of a shocker because you constantly see throughout these 4 episodes of him kind of reminiscing in the past, but he feels like he wasted his potential, it feels like his youth was wasted, and now there's this new youth that's trying to basically come into his life that maybe will give him a second chance, but he's scared of getting hurt. That's exactly what it seems like, on top of he doesn't think that it would work out because there is such an age gap, and maybe this relationship won't work out, maybe it will completely fail. But I like how we have this, almost young hotness coming into this guy's life where she wants to try, we can tell, she legitimately has feelings for him. The fact that she doesn't want to save the pamphlet from her first date, but wanted to save the pamphlet from the second date, the real one. The fact that she kept the receipt from this first date. There's so many moments that really show us, if she would have just kissed him on the cheek, I think it would have cleared up so much, but of course she's embarrassed, she doesn't want to. And I think the way this is functioning, the fact that they're building up, there is this doubt that society would accept it, the fact that even they could accept it, it's really damn beautiful. I really enjoy how this is functioning. And once again, this doesn't come off as creepy. This legitimately had me just saying "aw" so many times, especially during that phone call and her just jumping up and down for joy. Of course, had to get ruined by douchebag, but still, it's just such a cute series, and I'm very excited to see how it's going to progress, if Mr. Kondo is going to accept that maybe he can have a second chance at youth, or if it's ultimately going to fail. But nonetheless, I really like how society is being judgmental. Of course, we're only seeing it on one character so far, but we know that's just going to expand possibly to her school, to other employees, but ultimately the heart wants what it wants, and as long as both parties want each other, that's all that should matter. And I really enjoy how this is functioning. I think the art direction and animation is just on point. I think this was the best episode for it. There's just so many shifts in styles for the art direction that really sold these moments, especially with the embarrassment and how they would kind of shift the filters and things like that. It was just an adorable episode overall, and I'm so excited to see where episode 5 and the future episodes are going to go. if Mr. Kondo is going to accept that maybe he can have a future, or if he's going to just keep trying to push our main female character away. I just can't wait to see where it goes. Happy or bad ending, no matter what, I'm just excited to see how this relationship is going to unfold, and I think it's so refreshing, the route they're taking the series overall. Voice acting, once again, on point. I think Akira definitely steals the show for it. Her embarrassed voice is just adorable, and really sells exactly what she's feeling. I just think this was a great episode, probably my favorite episode of the series so far, but let me know your thoughts. What did you think, and how excited are you for episode 5 next week? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before you leave, smack that like button, show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.